Hello, scholars. This is Mr. Lowe coming to you with the last of our pre-skills unit videos. This is lesson number 7 relating to the coordinate plane. So in this lesson, we're going to review how to plot numbers on both a number line and on a graph, and how to identify those particular points on a graph. So let's take it real basic and go back to a number line. So if you have a number line, simply means take the number, put it on the number line. So in the case of example 1, plotting 6, go to the number line, find 6, put a dot on it. Most of the time you'd put a letter on it just to name that particular point. Done. Same thing with a negative number. -2, go to -2, put a point on it. There you go. If it's a decimal or a fraction, yes, it's a decimal, it's a fraction. So that means it's not going to land on an exact number. It's going to land in between two numbers. That's okay. So 3.7, using our basic number sense, means the point's going to be between 3 and 4. So go between 3 and 4. 3.7 is a little closer to 4, so put the point. There you go. Same thing with -4 3/4. So -4 3/4 would fall somewhere between -4 and -5. Put your point there, give it a nice label. So when you're just putting numbers on a number line, not really all that difficult. Plot the number and you're done. Now, most of our graphing in Algebra 2 Trig is going to occur on the coordinate plane. So, coordinate plane focuses on an ordered pair. That ordered pair is primarily x, y. X, y. So both of those would be numbers. So here you have the coordinate plane. You have the x-axis, which flows from left to right, and the y-axis, which flows up and down. Where they intersect, that's the origin. The origin is the point 0, 0. When they intersect, it breaks the graph into 4 parts. Quadrant 1, 2, 3, and 4. So quadrant 1 would consist of all positive numbers. So the x value would be positive, the y value would be positive. Quadrant 2, your x value would be negative and your y value would be positive. So that's true for all of the numbers that are inside of it. Quadrant 3, both numbers would be negative. And in quadrant 4, the x value would be positive, but the y value would be negative. As it relates to the two axes, if you're on the x-axis, then the first number, the x value will be a number, but the y value will be a 0. For the y-axis, the first number would be 0, and the second number would be an actual number. Could be positive, could be negative, but it'll be a number. So what I've given you are shortcuts for you to know where will the point be located. Where can you find that particular point? Because that's going to be important and will end up being important as you go farther along with regards to plotting your points and identifying points. With that, let's get into the 2 main things that you need to know about graphing. Those being how to graph it and then how to identify the actual point. So when you are graphing, you always start from the origin. So you're always starting at 0, 0, point blank period. Then you look at the x-axis. Look at the x value. If it's positive, you're going to move to the right. If it's negative, you're going to move to the left. If it's 0, you're going to go nowhere. If it's 0, you go nowhere. Then you look at the y value. If it's positive, you go up. Negative, you go down. 0, you go nowhere. But you will always start at the origin. Always start at the origin. Go left or right first. Go up or down second. So just a little practice of basic identifying. 6, 2 means you would start at 0, 0. Since you have a positive 6, you would move to the right 6 before going up 2 units. Right 6, up 2. For 3, -5, start at 0, 0. You would go to the right 3 before going down, 5 times. So this time you would go down because the second number was negative. You would go down because the second number is negative. Then lastly, -4, 0. Start at 0, 0. Since the first number is -4, you would go to the left 4 times. But since that second number is 0, then you would go nowhere else. You would stay. You would just stay there. Go to the left 4 and then just stay there. So yes, if you can identify what you're doing, then obviously you'll be able to plot the points. If you can identify what you're doing, then obviously you can plot the points. So let's move towards that. So when you're plotting the points on the coordinate plane, again, start at 0, 0, move left to right according to the x coordinate, move up or down according to the y coordinate, plot the point, label it, tell its location. Plot the point, label it, tell its location. So for point A, you have 3, 4. So 3, 4 means you would start from the origin, go to the right 3, and go up 4. So start from the origin, go to the right 3, go up 4, plot your point. So I just did the drawing just so that you could see where it was headed. So there's our point. So location basically means, so when they're talking about location, they want to know, is it in quadrant 1, 2, 3, 4? Is it on the x-axis? Is it on the y-axis? Or are you talking about the origin? That's what it's meant by location. So x and y-axis are labeled. Quadrant 1 is there. Quadrant 2 is there. Quadrant 3 here. Quadrant 4 here. So as you can see, point A is clearly in quadrant number 1. So quadrant 1. Or you can write it as Q1 and we'll know what you're talking about. So next point, 2, 0. So again, you go back to your origin, go to the right 2, and since the second number is 0, you stay here. So that's your next point, point B. So point B is resting on the x-axis, so your location is x-axis. Point C, -5, -1. Start at your origin. -5 means go left 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then down 1. So there's point C. So that's your point C. And then your quadrant is quadrant number 3. Point D, start at the origin, go to the right 6, then go down 1, 2, 3. And that's in quadrant number 4. Point E, 0, 5. So start at the origin. Since the first number is 0, you don't go anywhere. First number is 0, don't go anywhere. But now you're going to go up 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's point E. Which means you are on the y-axis. You are on the y-axis. So to finish this off here, point F, 3 to the left, 1, 2, 3, up 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So now we have something in quadrant number 2. And point G is the origin. 0, 0 is right smack dab in the middle, and that is your origin. That's your starting point. So you plot your points for the simple fact of knowing where everything is. Obviously, when we get more into graphing, then plotting those points become very, very important. Oh, that's plotting points. So plotting points, take the point, put it on the graph. The flip side to that is, here's the graph, the points are on it, identify what they are. So that is more or less just a counting job. That's a counting job. So let's start with point B. So point B is right there. So we're literally identifying how to get there. So point B, if you go to the x-axis, is at 6. If you go to the y-axis, it's at -3. So it's 6 on the x, -3 on the y. So that's 6, -3. You're literally telling what are the coordinates. What's the name of the point? What's the location of the point? So the location in this case, it's in quadrant 4. And the coordinates are 6, -3. Point F, you do the exact same thing. So point F, x-axis is at 1, y-axis is at -7. So 1, -7, and it's also in quadrant number 4. It's also located in quadrant number 4. Point D. So here's point D. We can see already that it's in quadrant number 3. So on the x side, it's at -8. With the y, it's at -8. -8, -8. Notice that the x goes first, the y goes second. That is always the case when you're identifying a point. X first, y second. Point A. Point A, we can clearly see that it is in quadrant number 2. So if you want to identify that and get it out the way, that's fine. So x-axis, that's -4. Y-axis, that's 9. So -4, 9. Point E. So point E is right there. So notice that with point E, if you're starting at the origin, you don't have to go left or right. You don't have to go to the left. You don't have to go to the right to get there. All you have to do is go up 2. So your left to right movement is 0. You're going up 2, which puts you on the y-axis. That puts you on the y-axis. And finally, point C. X-axis, that's 2. Y-axis, that's 5. So 2, 5, which is at quadrant number 1. That's a standard quadrant number 1 for problem 6. And that's plotting point, and that's identifying points based off of their location. Now, of course, there's a lot more that we do with points that are already plotted. We can identify length from the origin. There are a lot of things that we can do with it, which we will get into as we navigate deeper into Algebra 2 trig. Definitely on the trig side. We'll use the points to help us do other stuff. But with that, a quick whip around of identifying points on a graph, plotting points on a number line. Again, for most of you, for all of you, it's not that you don't know how to do it. You just need a refresher. So use this video as a refresher. Use the homework assignment, the homework problems that go with it as a refresher. And of course, as you have questions, please feel free to ask. With that being said, I hope you have a great rest of your day. Ask questions as you have them. Take care.